I'd been hoping for quite a while that NIO was going to sell their electric cars in Australia, and not just Australia, but in right-hand drive markets such as the UK, Japan, and Thailand. And, well, it turns out they most certainly are. How do we know this? Well, because Audi have put in a dispute about the name of NIO's car, and that's Audi in Australia. Hello my friends, welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans, you're watching the Electric Viking. NIO, probably my favourite car is the ET5, the new kind of a wagon you could say, Avant. I think it looks sensational. So even though I have been critical of the CEO of the company because he's just addicted to spending money until recently when the company was forced basically by the banks to cut back on their incredible spending, I actually still do love NIO cars. So people say that I just hate NIO, but I don't. I hate some of the decisions by their CEO, which I think are madness. But the actual cars they manufacture are they're fantastic. So it's going to give people another really good choice here, another option for what are really premium cars. And I think to be fair here, many people would say that NIO's electric cars are better than many options from, say, for example, premium manufacturers like Audi. Now, speaking of Audi, what is Audi's problem? Well, Audi did the same thing in Europe. They basically sued NIO over the naming of one of their vehicles. Now, the media here in Australia is saying that Audi are standing in the way. The reason that NIO cars are not yet on sale is because Audi is standing in the way of NIO selling them here in Australia. Is that even true? No, it's not, because NIO actually came up with a really easy, simple solution in Europe and in Germany in particular. They just changed the name. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't make a big difference. Everyone knows what car it is anyway. Well, actually, that's not true. Not many people actually know the brand NIO other than EV fans. So Audi has opposed trademark filings from NIO over the name of some of its upcoming vehicles. And they say that the brand's naming too closely resembles the naming or the badges of its own cars. According to information published by IP Australia, that's the Australian government's patent and trademark website, Audi has opposed NIO's trademark applications for the names ES6, ES7 and ES8. Now, I was thinking to myself when I first saw this, hang on a minute, why are they opposed to this? I mean, there's no Audis called that in Australia or anywhere for that matter. Well, Audi says ES6, ES7 and ES8 sound too much like the S6, the S7 and the S8. Those are all internal combustion engine vehicles, of course, completely different type of car. They're good cars. I don't think they're going to exist by 2030. Bit of a moot point in my opinion. But anyway, do you think that they sound similar? ES6 versus S6. I guess there is definitely some similarities. The question is, does anyone really care? I mean, is anyone who's going to buy an Audi, they're going to get confused and buy a NIO instead. I bought a NIO, I thought I was buying an Audi. I mean, it's ES6, I thought I was buying the S6 Audi. I don't think that's going to happen. So I really don't see the point here. But anyway, at least let us all know that, yes, NIO has registered its electric cars to be sold in Australia with the IP trademark. So what is Audi saying? What's their reasoning? They said in their submission, representatives for Audi said the use of the trademarks is contrary to law and are likely to deceive or cause confusion due to being substantially identical or deceptively similar to its own trademarks, which it asserts have acquired a reputation in Australia. So Audi is basically saying its trademarks, names of its cars have acquired a reputation in Australia, and people are going to be confused by NIO's names. So this confusion apparently is going to cause them to accidentally buy a NIO instead of an Audi. I think it's pretty funny, in my opinion. I think it's so preposterous. It's ridiculous. Anyhow, now, Audi is kind of saying this, right? They're saying it's common in the industry that if you want to call something an electric version, you would use an E at the start. So they're saying basically ES6 is the S6, the electric version of the S6. Now that doesn't exist. That car doesn't exist. ES8, they're saying that would be the electric version of the Audi S8. That doesn't exist either. And realistically, Audi have chosen not to use its internal combustion branding for its electric vehicle branding. So it doesn't appear as though Audi ever intend to actually use those names anyway. Who cares? All this is besides the point. The question here is, which vehicles does that mean NIO are bringing to right-hand drive car markets? Well, the ES6 is, of course, the most affordable of those models, from Neo, but the ES8 is the most expensive. It's got 480 kilowatt, about 700 horsepower, 840 newton meters of torque. It's a big car, and it does 0 to 100 in 4.4 seconds. It has around 500 kilometers of range, and it's also an SUV. I mean, it's a fairly big SUV. There's not much choice in this area, so I think it could actually sell quite well. They might position it as a competitor to something like the Kia EV9 or the Volvo EX90, which hasn't arrived yet either, but it will soon. So the Neo ES6, well, that came out in around December of 2018. Originally, there's now a newer version. But the ES6 is also an SUV, not quite as big as the ES8. It's slightly bigger than a Tesla Model Y. The ES7 is like the coupe version of the ES6, and it's a pretty good car as well. So the ES6, what about its specifications? Is it a car you should consider? I mean, if it's something, that's going to be a popular size car, it is a popular size car. In fact, this is one of the fastest growing segments in the world, these sort of mid-size SUVs. It actually has an 84 kilowatt hour battery, giving the vehicle a claimed range of around 510 kilometers. It can do 0 to 62 miles an hour, 0 to 100 in 4.7 seconds. Pricing in China starts at around about 45,000 US dollars. So maybe 70,000 Australian dollars. What price could you expect to see it here? Well, after costs and taxes, shipping, making them in right-hand drive, I'm going to guess around 85 to 90,000 Australian dollars. Probably that would be the base model. Then you'd pay a bit more for the more luxurious versions. But either way, guys, I think this is really good news. It gives the Australian car market, not just Australia, but I mean other places like Thailand. I'm almost certain they're going to go to Thailand. EVs are going crazy in Thailand. Then there's Malaysia. Malaysia's going to go crazy. EV sales are skyrocketing in Malaysia. Of course, Southeast Asia, EVs are really growing very quickly. So it's not just Australia and New Zealand, by the way. It's also Asia as well. I think Neo could do quite well if they price the cars at a point where people can afford them, because it's still a new brand. I mean, not many people know about who Neo are, but they will soon. Let me know what you think in the comments. Bye-bye.